There's not a blade of grass that I don't have a memory of. From Westcott over to the stadium, from Sally Hall, where I spent my freshman year. At the time, it was the only fully air-conditioned dorm. Over to the Fine Arts Building, where I took Theater 3000 with Professor Carrioff 30 years ago. And all of the colleagues and all of the friends that I've made over that time, one of whom, Professor Jay Rayburn, who is one of my mentors and one of the people I work very closely with. He's taught me a lot, and probably the thing he's taught me the most by my time here is all about Kentucky bourbon. He's from Kentucky, and he knows more about that than anyone I know. And he's going to kick things off this morning, introducing our keynote speaker. So Jay, take it away.
Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. We've been doing this now for several years since the College of Communication and Information was created. It's always a special pleasure to see old friends come back. And so we do thank you for coming. I know that putting on a tie on homecoming morning is not exactly what everybody had in mind, but at least some of you had sense, as our former dean, John Mayo, not wear the tie. So anyway, we appreciate you coming. It's always an honor when you're asked to introduce the guest speaker, but it's really a pleasure when that guest speaker is somebody that you've known for 25 years, or actually more like 29 years. Karen Moore moved to Tallahassee in 1985 when her husband was going to our law school, and she got a job over at the Center for Professional Development. That led to the position of Director of Marketing for CPD. And over the years, Karen's clients, or the people she served over there, kept saying to her, why don't you start your own business? Why don't you start your own business? And one day she decided to start her own business. So she left CPD and opened Moore Consulting Group out in the cottages of Lake Ella. So I know you're all familiar with those little bitty tiny places out there. And about 3 days into it, somebody broke in and stole the computer and all the electronic equipment, and within a month the toilet had exploded and wiped out everything in there. And I think she probably took that as an omen that I did the wrong thing. I always thought it was just an omen that there are a lot of bigger and brighter things in her future, and that's certainly what happened. And Karen's a leader in media relations, public relations, crisis communications, and things in the public affairs arena. Former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger once called her one tough lady, and even though she's one nice lady, she's is a good businesswoman, one tough lady. She's the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of now Moore Communications Group, which she founded about 25 years ago. She has offices here in Tallahassee, in Jacksonville, in Miami, and Washington, D.C., and is one of the largest independently owned PR firms in the nation. She represents clients all over the United States as well as the Caribbean. This firm has been named by Inc. magazine, which is no small little publication, as one of the fastest growing businesses in America, and by our own Florida Trend magazine as a top place to work in Florida. And if you ever get the opportunity to go to her office, you'll see why, especially if you go on Friday, because it's Bring Your Dog to Work Day. And there's one out there that doesn't like me, but the rest of them are pretty nice. During her years of practice, Karen's firm has received more than 350 state and national awards for public relations and public affairs programs, including 2 times the Grand All Florida Golden Image Award from Public Relations Society, from the Florida Public Relations Association. Karen frequently publishes and speaks. She's facilitated strategic communication planning for more than 50 organizations across the nation. She's done media training for more than 500 organizations, and that includes the elected officials and even the British Olympics team when they were practicing here in Tallahassee. She's won the Silver Medal Award from the Advertising Federation, the Stanley Tate Award for Lifetime Excellence and Achievement in Public Relations from our local chapter of the Florida Public Relations Association, and Distinguished Leader Award by the National Association of Community Leaders. Karen serves on numerous boards, including Florida Cured, the Economic Development Council in Tallahassee, Leon County, which she's currently
using it with purpose. Otherwise, it's just noise out there. And I thought I'd share with you a few thoughts on social media today. But before we get started, take a look at this video. Woo. Well, I think all of you know that communication used to be one way, then it was two-way, but now I want you to know it's this revolving circle. And the business community has figured out the value of listening and monitoring what you are doing online. Let me give you a quick. But the Barbie community worldwide got together and they decided that there needed to be a beautiful and bald Barbie. And that was because they thought Mattel should create a doll that supported children who had cancer. And so they started emailing, using Twitter, using Facebook, social media tools to tell Mattel to create a bald and beautiful Barbie doll. Well, Mattel listened to this online community and they created the bald and beautiful Barbie. There she is. Now this doll is not sold in stores because they didn't want to look like they were profiting from it, but they give this doll out free to hospitals that support children with cancer. And of course with the Barbie doll, it comes with its own supply of wigs and scarves and hats. Now you may think, okay, that's a nice thing to do, but let me tell you, Mattel is a for-profit entity, and what Mattel found is after they listened to the online media community, did what they asked, they looped back, created the doll, and the online community said thank you so loudly that it was literally millions and millions of dollars worth of free publicity for them. And within 6 weeks, get this, 6 weeks, the value of their stock went up 17%. So that is the power of listening to the media out there. Now, a lot of times when I talk across the country, what I find is as soon as I say social media, people start saying, oh, they invade your privacy. You no longer have privacy there. Well, you're absolutely correct. That is true. I can tell you, if you have tweeted even one time, I can tell you where you're located. I can you what do you buy, I can tell you what ads you click on, I can tell you what shoes you buy, and I can tell you what zip codes you live in. And this is what the media has done, this great tool. The business community says, we're going to be watching you now. So have any of you been on a site, say you like to travel, you go on TripAdvisor, all of a sudden this random ad comes popping up on your site that's about shoes? Well, that's because they know you buy Zapato shoes and that you're on right this minute on the TripAdvisor site. That's how smart they are. Well, I can tell you that brands and companies are trying to figure out how they can take this powerful tool and mine that data. How do they figure out what to use about all this information they know that you have? So it's not now just a two-way conversation, it's this rotating conversation. Let me give you an example for that. How many people know the brand Nike? Okay, most of you. Nike ID has a web page where Nike says, we know that you like shoes. We know that you probably like our shoes, but we want to have an even more of an engagement with you, not just a conversation, but take it to the next level. How can we now force you to buy a product? So what Nike does is allow you to go on their site. You can pick the color of the leather, you can pick the style of the shoe, you can pick the color of the thread that is sewn in the shoe, and you can design whatever ties that you want. By the way, these are mine. Here, the Karen B. Moore Lunar Guide. I have to tell you, I really didn't design it. I had an intern do that. But anyways, that's how they are now having a one-on-one engagement with you, not through a retail store anymore. So not only are businesses understanding social media, but let's think just for 1 minute about the election. Let's think about, we can't wait till the election is over with, right? But let me tell you about how social media has impacted the election this year. For the first time in the world's history, listen to this, in just the last 2 months, online advertising has been $159 million in support of candidates. 2 months, $159 million. And Twitter, for those of you who watched the first presidential debate, believe it or not, from the time it started to 1 hour after it ended, 10 million tweets were sent out encouraging people to vote for one candidate or another. That's the volume that's out there. Well, political strategists have realized how powerful that is, not only in buying television shows or supporting you buying shoes or Barbie dolls, but they also are driving you to vote a certain way, and so they have to learn about you. Remember, they're out there seeking this data. So let me tell you what has been determined between our two presidential candidates, in case you don't know. This was an assessment of 500 million data points off of the last 6 months of the internet. So, Obama campaign decided that the people on the internet that are in support of President Obama eat at Red Lobster, they shop at Burlington Coat Factory, and they like to listen to smooth jazz. They got that from the internet. Not one focus group was held. The Romney backers, they drink Sam Adams beer, they like eating at Olive Garden, and they certainly watching college football. So, yeah, who knew, right? But what is important is not only are they figuring out who their demographics are using social media, but the audience in social media is figuring out more about them. So now candidates can no longer just go out and do a stump speech. They have to engage in social media. And the cool thing that's happening with that is that now, every time, you remember they used to get a fact wrong or they sort of exaggerate a story. Well, now 50 million people are using social media to check their facts. And so they're actually having to do a better job of fact checking because all of your graduates have become a nation of fact checkers and a nation of fast food eaters. Let me tell you one more thing. It's not only social media dealing with campaigns and social media dealing with products, but social media has now moved into, Dr. Solomon, into the advertising arena, as you well know. Let me give you a quick example. Mercedes-Benz UK decided that they would do a 3-commercial series. And the first 2 commercials were created by their creative team. The 3rd commercial they sent out on Twitter and said, how would you like this commercial to end? It was a series. They did no focus groups. It was a vote back from Twitter. How do you want our commercial to end? And that's what they produced. So they now are changing the way we have decided to do business. Let me give you one last quick example here. A few months ago, Apple launched the iPhone 5. Their biggest competitor, Samsung, decided they quickly needed to take action in order to counter what was a huge phenomenon as the startup business. So what Samsung did is they hired a firm to look at 100,000 tweets that took place in the first 24 hours of the launch of the iPhone. The first 24 hours, 100,000 tweets took place. They created the commercial by literally taking exact words from a tweet and plunking it into a TV commercial. Watch this.
Through 4G.
Yep.
Hey, what'd you just do?
I just sent him a playlist.
Like touching phones.
Yeah. As simple as that.
It's the Galaxy S3.
I'll see you in the studio later.
When do you think we're gonna be able to do that thing on the next one?
The next big thing is already here, the Samsung Galaxy S3.
What you'll find is they had so much fodder used from Twitter, they created a series of 10 different commercials about the bad things iPhone users are saying about their own phone. It actually has created quite a little storm for them, and Samsung's products are going sky high right now. So let me leave you with one quick story. Does everyone here recognize the name Nolan Bushnell? Do you recognize the name Nolan Bushnell? A couple nods do. Do you recognize the name Atari or Chuck E. Cheese? All right. Nolan Bushnell was the founder of that. And my favorite quote in the world is from him. He says, anyone who has ever taken a shower has had a great idea. What you have to do is get out of the shower, dry off, and work on that idea. So what I want you to get out of today's thought is, please take a shower. Not really. What I want you to get out of today's thought is, just as Mr. Bushnell literally changed the way personal entertainment took place with Atari, social media is changing the way that we communicate, what we purchase, what decisions we're making. And I say to you all, you better get in the game. Thank you.
We're very pleased to have her come here and speak today, and what a glowing introduction from Jay. It was like 20 pages to read it.
You know, I'm a PR firm. We got to write good stuff, whether it's true or not.
So here's a little token of our appreciation
Thank
for
you
you.
so
We would have
much.
tweeted it, but we didn't have time to get the tweets out about it. So
Well, you
you
know-
can tweet about what you got today, and it'll be all over social media.
And I appreciate that, and I will tweet the fact that you all are tweeting about me.
Okay, now we have many, many awards to give out. This is one of the main purposes of our gathering today. First of all, we have many distinguished alumni who come through our college. And today we want to highlight some distinguished alumni who have come back to campus today. Every year we give out distinguished alumni awards, and we're very fortunate today to have last year's recipients to give out the awards to this year's recipients. And they're seated here on stage with us this morning. And to give out the first award from the College of Communication, the School of Communication, I present Patricia Stigler.
You know, I'm not nearly as nervous this year as I was last year. It was a little overwhelming last year when I everybody's dressed with their hats on, and I'm kind of like sitting there still looking around like going, are you sure you got the right person to give this award to? Or as I said, then y'all must have run out of a lot of people, and so that's how it kind of trickled down to me receiving the award. And so I'm a lot more calmer this morning and not necessarily as nervous, but I'm very honored to be back here. I'm very honored to be the recipient last year in 2011, and as I got to spend a year looking at my award on my shelf, and you guys are going to get yours, and you're going to look at that, and you're going to remember a lot of great memories that come out of that. And it's like, when I come back to Florida State, I'm not 59 years old, I'm 20 years old. And that was what I was saying to the girls that I was talking to this morning when I was sitting there, is walking across Landis Green, I'm not, going, my knee hurts, oh no, my hip hurts. I'm sitting over there going like, oh, I remember coming over here one night, or I remember having the umbrella that I almost took out about 50 people. We had the big black umbrellas, and I was like, excuse me, because I kept bumping into people with my umbrella. And one of our rainy days during winter quarter, yeah, it was a quarter, that's how long ago I was here. But I want to just say something to those of you that are here today, and that is, enjoy your time at Florida State. Enjoy the knowledge that every one of these people wearing these gowns, I'll never get ruined, that they have, and I want you to pick their brain and learn everything you possibly can from them, because you never know where you're going to wind up. And while everything that Karen was talking about this morning is so true with social, I'm on the advertising side of the business. I'm a media planner, I'm a media buyer. I tell my clients how to spend their advertising money, and I'm the one that tells them, because it used to be, are you radio, your TV, your magazine, your newspaper, here's how you spend it. Well, what's happened so much is the digital highway. Whenever we would always look at outdoor, I always said, the benefit of outdoor is you just got to remember, you can't put more than 7 words on a board, because you got 3 to 4 seconds of exposure time, unless you live in Atlanta and traffic where probably if you memorize the font, the color, the everything that's about it on those days. And so, but when we look at like what's happening now in the digital arena is, we don't look at it as being like, as I say to people, the best way to think about what outdoor or what digital is today is, you're on the super highway, and instead of being on a 4-lane or a 6-lane expressway, you're on an expressway that's 24 lanes wide. And you're trying to look at an outdoor board, and you're traveling about 125 miles an hour. That's how much time you've got to be able to click in and get in to do that. And that's that's the challenge for us on the agency side and on the buying side of how do we recommend this to our clients today. One number I'll throw out here, you can save this, Karen, is that it took 7 years for smartphones to reach 40 million in coverage. It has taken 2 years for tablets and iPads to reach the same amount of coverage. So if you don't think that we're in the age of technology and what that technology is growing and how rapidly that information and that the information is being disseminated, then it's like holding on to the tail of a comet, is the way that it is. And that's the challenge for you all as professors, is how do you teach this to these kids? And it's like, she's not kidding. Little kids, 2-year-olds can run iPods better than their grandparents can. Grandparents don't have the iPad for them, they have it for their grandchildren to keep them amused. And so it's like, that's where our technology is going to today. We're having a conversation about social. What do I think about social networking? I think it's intrusive. I don't like it. I don't recommend it to my clients. When I go into Facebook, I don't want to go on Facebook because I bought shoes somewhere. If I want to go buy shoes, I'll go buy shoes. But that's not what I'm there for. And so that's one of the hard parts for us today, is how do we cross that line of being information and not being intrusive? And we are going to be intrusive. When you watch television, and I really am getting around you guys, and that's the reason I will. It's not like get around your ass to get to your elbow.
Your stuff's much more interesting.
Yeah.
No. And so when you go to television, commercials are intrusive. When we're watching TV and a commercial comes on, so you better be very talented in order to be intrusive. But the prime example I will give you where commercials are not intrusive is the Super Bowl. Because the Super Bowl, people pay $3, $3.5, $4 million, depending on what the numbers are and depending on how good a negotiator you are. But people now watch TV. It used to be, the old adage that during halftime, the water pressure in LA went up by 20%, because everybody jumped up and ran to the restroom, and then they came back, and it didn't happen anymore. As a a matter of fact, actually, probably the water pressure goes up more during while football games going on than necessarily it does because people now watch it. It's a social occasion. People now send out ratings to their friends, rate the commercials. Which ones did you like? What do you do? And they blog about it and they send it out there. And that's people are saying that. How do we get into that? How do we get out there as influencers of today? Well, these guys are really interesting in their influencers. And I gotta tell you something, as I said to them this morning, I went to, I was looking for information on them. And I sent to Barbara and to Ursel, and I'm like, can I get bios on them? Of course, Karen had a bio, I had a bio that Eloise Mills got to read last year. Well, and so what I got was basically what's on your website. You guys need to get better at that. Because it's like, this is the whole thing. I went, well, that didn't take them long, copy, paste. Here you go, here's our bio information. They founded this company in 1994, Renegade 83. I love the name. And as I call them, the kings of guilty pleasures. Because they are the guys who started reality TV. Their first reality TV programs started in 1999. You may know what Keeping Up with Kardashians went on here. So these guys saw something and they saw their first real programming successes started in 2002 and 2003. And that's how long it takes to be able to go in and sell. And we were talking about what's happening in the business today. Because I'm the one that takes my clients' money. I'll put Daly's Cocktail money and I will put them into their shows and their programming. And I'm the one that's out there dealing with A&E or I'm dealing with Discovery. And we all have to watch, okay, because in March they've got a show that just got picked up by NBC, so when you see the Evil Longoria show, you'll know that it's Jay and David, that this is their show that's out there. So we have to support it for them so they can get more shows out there on TV. That's just my, like alumni to alumni kind of thing.
We'll be very intrusive on your, on everything you do. We'll know what you're watching.
That's right. Well, I'll be careful then. And so the best thing that I can tell you about them is, because I really do not know their personal information about them, all I can tell you is they obviously are smart as hell. They obviously saw a great opportunity when they thought. They also are humble enough that they're not out there promoting David Garfinkel and Jay Renfro. They're out there promoting Renegade 83. And one of the things I've always thought of with Florida State is our the logo is Vires, Artes, Amores, which is, they call it, if you look at it, it's strength, skill, and character. Well, I take that now and I put that up into where we are today, and I think that that is very representative of these two gentlemen, in that strength today is now power, and art skill is now ability, and character is now personality. And I can tell you these two have a lot of strength, of power, ability, and personality. And so with that, I'd like to introduce the 2012 recipients, Jay Renfro and David Garfinkel.
You can't take it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
very, very much.
Thank you.
One thing about Jay and I went to school together 30 years ago, and when we took classes in the morning. I think we remember we played golf in the afternoon, and back then we could only play like a $1 Nassau's. That's front 9, back 9, and then hole 18. Jay could hit the ball as far as Tiger Woods. He really could. The problem is he didn't know where it was going to go.
Still the problem.
Still the problem. Still the problem. Now let's move on to the next award, which is going to go to the School of Communication Sciences and Disorders, and that is going to be presented to by Dr. Rhonda Ward. That's right in front of me. I just have to look down.
I've been told my last name is not forgettable, so work, how it goes. But it's hard to follow both these ladies, I'll tell you. I feel a little nervous about it, but anyway, I'm delighted to be here and to be able to present this award. I agree. Last year, it was kind of scary because you're sitting up here thinking, just like you said, me? Why But let me tell you, I look at my plaque on my bookcase daily, and I love it. And this award, of all the awards I've ever received over my lifetime, has really meant the most to me. And I think, Neil, you're going to feel the same way when you I want you to know that one of the things when you receive this award is that you realize as you reflect on it that you've been recognized by, first of all, your fellow academics. You've been recognized for all the contributions you've made to the profession, or professions, I should say, and the community, and for your lifetime of commitment and leadership that you've given. And I think Dr. Neil DeSarno is definitely deserving of this award. For those of you who may not know him, I'm going to give you a little bit of his biography. He earned his bachelor's degree at State University of New York in Buffalo. And then he realized that if he wanted a real degree, he needed to come to Florida State University, where he earned both his master's and his doctorate in audiology. By the way, Neil, do you still know how to do this? Thank you. Today especially, okay, good. Over the years, Neil has served in a various settings. He's been in the school district. He's been in a treatment center in Alaska. He's been at the National Acoustic Center in New Zealand. And he's been in various healthcare settings in New York and Canada besides his academic settings. But you know, I learned that he wasn't just providing professional services when he was traveling to all these nice places in Alaska, New Zealand, and New Zealand. That's where he met his lovely wife, Giovanna, who's in the audience with us today. And we're delighted you brought him out to the States. So I know you're delighted. Yeah, he's pretty clever about doing that. By the way, if you haven't been to Africa, let me give you some tips, because those who know me know I've been to Africa. In 1998, Dr. DeSarno and the family settled in Springfield, Missouri, where he became head of the Department of Communication Sciences and Disorders at Missouri State. There, he ran an on-campus speech hearing, language clinic. He managed, of course, as department head, the faculty, the staff, the budget, curriculum, all those things that faculty heads do. But he also taught classes in practice management, pediatric audiology. Here's a good one: auditory electrophysiology and pediatric audiology. He also did sign language, and he's been interested in things like elderly adult oral rehabilitation. I understand that one, believe me. Those of us who are over that hill. Anyway, and he's been very much involved in things like the other half of his life: motorcycles, likes to run, does scuba diving, skiing. You know, he's a well-rounded individual. Neil has been a long-time volunteer with what we call the American Speech Language Hearing Association, the National Association representing speech language pathologists and audiologists. He served on a number of their boards, and he has recently been appointed the Chief of Audiology for the American Speech Language Hearing Association. Here he will be working closely with 14,000 members who work in the field of audiology. And he'll also be liaisoning with accreditation, certification, and ethics programs. He'll be an advocate for the profession at a time when there are a number of challenges out there in the field of speech language hearing. I'd like to quote Dr. Arlene Pietranton, who is the Chief Executive Officer of ASHA, when she announced that Dr. DeSarno was joining the association. Neil has a wonderfully diverse array of clinical and academic experiences and an excellent track record of leading and managing change. This is true. But now I've told you all the academic side and the professional side. There's another little piece of Neil, it's related professionally, that I want to share with you. And I want to thank my good friend and colleague, Dr. Virginia Walker, who shared this with me and said I could use it. She said, and I'm going to quote her, "Neil was one of the most sensitive and compassionate audiologists I have ever known. I know that because he tested my mother on several occasions. She was not a difficult patient, but she had been a long time hearing aid user, and she knew what she wanted. Now, Neil was certain that the aid she preferred was probably too strong for her. And he suggested that she and I take a walk out here on campus in the noisy environment, probably go, into one of the lunchrooms or somewhere where it'd be pretty loud. So she could see if she could tolerate that particular aid that she thought she wanted and he thought was too strong. She came back and she said she knew this was what she wanted because she liked the power that aid gave her. Now, Virginia later said that in 1987, they both lost their mothers, and he became a great comfort to them. At one point, I brought my mother's hearing aid back to the Speech and Hearing Center and gave it to Neil for someone else to use. I wonder if you remember this. I'm not surprised. Sometime later, Neil came to me and said, I want you to go down to the waiting room. Virginia said, I was puzzled, but I did what he said, and I walked in and saw all the children, saw adults, what we always had in the waiting room. And I came out and looked at him, and he said, did you see the white-haired elderly lady over there in the corner? Your mother's hearing aid was just perfect for her. I don't think Neil ever knew how much that helped her. Dr. Spisarno, Neil, it is with a great deal of pleasure that I offer to you this year the 2012 Distinguished Alumni Award for the Department of Communication Sciences and Service at Kansas State University.
Our third and final Distinguished Alumni Award for the School of Library and Information Studies is going to be presented by Dr. Christy Gates. You were in school together too.
Yes.
30 years ago. It's like a class reunion.
They can't get rid of us. We communication types. We morph and reform. And when I was asked by Dr. Mary Alice Hunt, whose gown I have on, she gave it to me before she died. She said, hey, we need people like you in the library field. And so 25 years later, here I am. I've had a rich experience in education at FSU, and I appreciate it, and I've been able to bring up my family. My son Thomas is here today. He went to Florida and FSU, but here he has returned to our community, and I'm so glad to have him today. Well, Samantha. When I was first asked to introduce Samantha, I kept seeing this announcement in life over and over again, everywhere I've been. Sam Hastings, former Flowing Wells High School math teacher, makes good. And good she did. She is our FSU SLIS Alum of the Year 2012. I have a special place in my heart for math teachers. My son, our dean, his dad. We have some mathematicians in LIS, but not as often, so we treasure them. Dr. S.K. Hastings, Sam, again, our own PhD from 1995, is currently the director at the School of Library and Information Science at the University of South Carolina. And prior to that, she was the interim director at the University of North Texas. I always admire people who manage people and do it well, while they do so many other things well. She also holds a master's from the University of South Florida in Tampa. But even more intriguing than Sam's stint as a math teacher and her current credentials, which I've mentioned, is that Sam literally exploded the I in the MLIS long before it was the rage or the brand or it was popular. Our field, for those of you who aren't in the know, many of us from the 80s graduated with an MLS, Master of Library Science, and then the I was embraced to include the information sciences and information technologies. By embedding this in our curriculum and our degree and brand, we've actually added value to our degree and kept it current from its now twice turns of the centuries. This all
be employed in all types of organizations and government and business. Had to get a little recruitment in there. So again, here is just a snippet of Sam's prehistory, which you probably don't know about. Sam, before she was a high school math teacher, was a medical librarian. Interesting. She also worked in the community college library. She ran the technical services department for New College, served as the librarian for Florida Department of Natural Resources. She taught here at FSU, and she served as a library specialist for the state library. As she turned her attention, as she gained her skills in research, she took a real innovative spirit and spiraled upward. She began helping public libraries and museums connect to the internet and share their cultural objects in a digital environment. This led to her current partnership in the private sector with Areas 3D Incorporated, which explores the use of 3D objects in learning environments. Just knowing Sam is so much fun that this particular aspect of Sam makes my head spin and become more curious about her work. She, of all, has consistently bridged that river between the practitioner and the researcher that we try so hard to do in our field. She continues, even while deaning, to get these well-funded research projects. She must never sleep. In the area of retrieval of digital images, cultural heritage, big funds from IMLS, the Cultural Heritage, Information's Leadership, love the acronym, CHILL, NEH, Increasing Understanding of the African American Experience with 3D visualization capability, and over the years totaling millions. Oh yes, and by the way, and along the way, Sam has directed over 20 PhD students and over 500 master's students. Our award is added to the Alum of the Year she received at USF. They beat us to it. Specialty awards of research from ACES, of which she was president in 2004, OCLC and the University of Texas. She's a magnet. She's a magnet for good work and people in our field. Sam, I turn this over to you with such a gladdened heart. I never thought I would have such a great moment in time. Thank you.
I want to say a few words. My prerogative. My pleasure. How beautiful. I want to honor, I'm honored. This is incredible. I thought I was going to lose it this morning when I walked into the breakfast and there was Charlie Parker, an old cohort from the State Library of Florida, and it was like, whoo! And then I said, don't make me cry. Close, but what an honor to receive this from Christy Kuntz, because she has been one of my shining stars. I followed in her dust, and she's worked through so many projects and so many important things. I want to thank Bill Summers, who isn't here today, but if it weren't for Bill Summers, I would have never gotten my PhD, because I wanted his signature on my diploma. So I finished because he was stepping down. And I also want to mention that Jerry Jehoda and Beth Logan were guiding lights for me, and without them I wouldn't be here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Davis.
Three outstanding awards, very distinguished alumni. But without dedicated faculty and dedicated staff, we wouldn't have distinguished alumni. So now we turn to the faculty and staff awards. We're running a little bit behind schedule, so I would ask the award presenters and the award recipients to be a little bit more proactive, because the parking lot will be not ours in a little while. So to present the School of Communication Faculty and Staff Awards, the Director of the School of Communication, Dr. Steve McDowell.
Thank Thanks very much. It's my pleasure to provide our first award, the faculty award, to Dr. Gary Heald. I'll just mention that these awards are voted on by students, so that the Dean's Office sends out a link, a poll to students, and so both the staff award and the faculty award is a reflection of student recognition. As you can see in the program, Dr. Heald has a long history here. He served as a faculty member, he's served as an administrator, and he's been recognized both for his teaching work, University Teaching Award and Teaching Incentive Program. I'll just make a couple comments based on my personal experience. In his teaching, Gary Heald has a reputation as he's teaching difficult courses in statistics, in database concepts, or in access using statistics, statistical analysis. And the students really love him, even though he's presenting them with some of the most difficult material that many of them have encountered. And other faculty have even sat in on some of his courses sometimes. As an advisor, he's advised many PhD students and really equipped them well for research jobs, for teaching jobs, and some have moved into health communication or other types of market research analysis. So that it's been one of the defining features of our program to have Professor Heald. I've worked with him in student affairs, a tremendous amount of fairness and empathy for the students, on administrative issues as well, fairness, as well as a strong use of data and analytics is one of our running jokes about Gary's presentation of the data. I think Jay's phrase, if you can't count it, it doesn't exist, is used for Gary's work. And one final reflection is that we had some tables with problems that if you moved them, the legs broke off. And Gary's been called upon by the university to tackle some difficult issues in program assessment and other kind of data and analytics. But he came to me and asked, would it be okay if he repaired the table leg? So he took the leg home and figured out a way to hitch it back to the table, which was part of the board, so it was very difficult to attach. So he's found a new line of work on his own time, I guess. So very happy to present the award to Gary Heald this year. The second award is Ms. Natasha Hinson-Turner, who's not here today. She's the program coordinator for our graduate program. I've worked with her first as Director of Graduate Studies in 2000-2002, then as Chair and Director since then. And I was noted this morning that she's pursuing her bachelor's degree in organization management. She has a clean desk every night. Mine hasn't been clean for years. So I'm not sure if it's a reflection of working with me that she's pursuing that. But also her quality of her work and interaction with students is recognized by many. And one thing I like about working with her, the questions I ask her is, what do you need, or what do I need to do? I ask her that, and she stays on top of her portfolio and makes sure the department and the school is meeting its requirements. So she's an exemplary employee. Thank you.
The actual reward.
The actual award.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. You up here?
Yeah, you can take it.
Thank you.
The next award, the Communication Science and Disorders Award, will be presented by Julie Steerwald.
As faculty and staff in communication science and disorders, it's our privilege to share information, whether it's our academic expertise, our clinical skill, or just general support of students. Interacting with students is probably one of the greatest joys that we have. It keeps us excited about our jobs. It keeps us moving down that path of discovery. And apparently the students have noticed this, because when we have interviewed students year after year, when they exit, they say one of the greatest strengths of our program is our access to faculty and their availability to us. And so it's really an honor for our faculty to be recognized by the students with awards like this. Our first faculty award, and in fact, our faculty are so good, they couldn't pick one. We actually had two faculty awards because there was a tie. The two that we're honoring today are Dr. Carla Jackson and Dr. Julianne Woods. Carla Jackson is an associate professor in communication science and disorder. She specializes in dual language learning, in language development. She does a lot of work around the community with children with special needs and families who have English as a second language and dual language learners. She also has a passion for running. She started a program to raise money for summer camps for children, and that running project started out as a walk to talk and has expanded to run your mouth and sprint for speech, in addition to walk to talk. So we'd like to honor Carla today with the Faculty Award. Dr. Julianne Woods could not be with us today. She also specializes in early childhood and especially early intervention with birth to 3 and autism spectrum disorders. And we're sorry she couldn't be here today, but we're happy to honor her as well. Our other award winner is Thomas Turner. Thomas is our technology specialist at our school. We are so fortunate to have someone that can help us with all of our technology and innovation, as well as the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Did I get that right? As with an operating clinic, it's really important to keep all of our information and the information of our clients secure. And Thomas has gone to great lengths in order to help us achieve that and to maintain that status. In addition, he is ever present, walking through the halls. Need anything from me today? Everything okay? He's always present, ever helpful, and we really appreciate, and clearly the students appreciate his work.
The third school in the college is the School of Library and Information Studies, and to present the Library and Information Studies Awards is Ibrahim Randy, the program director of undergraduate. No, he's a winner. Presented by Kathleen Burnett. Kathleen Burnett is going to present that. We had an award to eat. So where's Kathleen?
Right here.
Yeah, there she is. You're going to get an award. In case you didn't know.
I thought I was presenting my own.
You can do that if you want to.
Eve Rendery is actually getting 2 awards today. And that's not a surprise, because Eve is the busiest person I think I've ever met in my life. And he accomplishes more than anyone I've ever worked with before. And among the things he's accomplished is saving my life in the last, 8 weeks now? Eve is a wonderful teacher. He's a wonderful administrator, and he's a fabulous person to work with. And I really want to continue to work with him. As an instructor, I've been teaching since 1989, and I came in to teach undergraduate in the undergraduate program again this fall, and I sat down with Eve and I learned many, many things I didn't know about how to interact with students, how to make students think you know what their names are, but you really don't, and just how to keep that kind of dialogue going with them. I really appreciate that. Elaine Howard is our executive secretary. She deserves to be way more than an executive secretary. She has really kept our new administration going and on track and making sure that we meet all our deadlines. And so, Elaine, you can come up here.
The three schools all work under the umbrella of the college. And we have dedicated people who work under Dean Dennis in the college. And to present two outstanding individuals their college awards is Associate Dean Gary Hill.
I'm going to present one award. I don't know who the next one.
Well, I think there are two awards.
And only one for me.
Okay. One award.
You know, we have good days and we have bad days around here. And our worst days are not when we lose a game we should have won, not when we have a bad day in the classroom. Our worst days are when our technology fails us. No question about it. When we can't do our research, when we can't help our students learn what they need to be learning, when students can't reach the information they need to reach to complete their assignments, we are almost dead in the water. We don't stop totally, but we are clearly in trouble. When we're in trouble, I know who to call. No question about it. I know who to call. Top of my list. And that's Jason Finley. Jason has enormous technical skills, but beyond that, he has problem-solving skills. He fixes things. Things that he probably should not be able to fix, he finds a way to fix. And beyond that, he always keeps me informed as to where we are in the process and when it's going to get done. And finally, the very, very best thing about Jason is this. Jason is now in charge of our help desk. The help desk is a series of students, professionals, who solve problems throughout the day for faculty and students. And Jason is now passing those same skills to our students. They learn strong technical skills. They learn how to solve problems. They become fixers of things that shouldn't be going wrong. And finally, they keep us informed of where they are in the process. Jason, you're a blessing guy. Thanks so much.
I'm going to stick to the script. It's all written out here. The CCI Leadership Board Award is presented by Dr. John Tetnowski.
Thank you, everybody. And it's really a pleasure for me to give this award. When Eve was getting a different award, I thought to myself, oh, everything I had written down is all gone because somebody's talking before me, but thank goodness that didn't happen. I love Florida State, by the way. And it's really a pleasure for me to be representing the CCI Leadership Board, which is a group of distinguished alumni, other than myself, who's just a regular alumni, that really kind of works with the dean to do a number of things. And one of the things that we do is to raise some money, by the way. So I want to let you know that this award that's going to Eve is a nice plaque, and also something that I hope faculty really appreciate is a little extra money as well. And all the money was donated through the CCI Leadership Board. This year's award goes to Eve Landry. He serves the college in many roles, including communication, outreach to employers, support and promotion of leadership board efforts, promotion of CCI programs around the state through visits to high schools, provision of STEM service learning to elementary schools, coordination of alumni efforts through social media, and representation of the Florida State University at various different events. He's the Associate Dean of CCI, faculty advisor for the IT student group, representative of STARS, which really impresses me so much because it increases participation of women, minorities, and those with disabilities in computing. Outside of that, you know, I always wonder, like, how do they have time to do anything? Well, Eve's a avid photographer and a hiker when he's not working, which his wife says is never. He happens to be a Buffalo Sabres fan, and that hits home for me because he's a graduate of State University of New York at Buffalo, which I am as well. Dr. DeSarno is as well, a number of other people also. He likes to go to air shows, fireworks displays, has a strange attraction to lighthouses. In addition to that, he spends time with his son Noah, mostly watching YouTube videos, and his son has an attraction to seals, of which there are none in Tallahassee, so he thanks YouTube for that. So, without anything further, Eve, you are a tremendous asset to this college, to this university, to everything about Florida State. We as alumni and the CCI Leadership Board really appreciate you and thank you for your work. Congratulations.
That concludes all of the awards for our session today, but we have special recognition to give this morning. And Dr. Nancy Everhart from the School of Library and Information Studies is the director of the Palm Center. And the Palm Center is coordinating an exciting and valuable holiday project, Homes for the Holidays. Now, this is a project that is under the Warwick Dunn Charities Foundation, and Warwick Dunn is a former Florida State student athlete who went to school here in the early 1990s and went on to an illustrious career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Atlanta Falcons. And he has an exciting program, and Palm is participating with this. And Dr. Everhart wants to spend a couple minutes talking to you about that, and then introduce a final speaker this morning.
Thank you. Warwick Dunn sat on this stage 2 years ago to get an Outstanding Alum Award, and not bad for a guy in his early 30s. And, you know, as was mentioned, a lot of people know Mr. Dunn as being an outstanding college and professional football player. But not as many people know, because he keeps it pretty quiet, is that he is an awesome humanitarian. And through his Warwick Dunn Charities, he has developed a program called Homes for the Holidays, where families are given a home through Habitat through Humanity, but Warwick's Charities fully furnishes the home, provides all the supplies, everything. The person just walks in and doesn't even need to bring a toothbrush with them. I'd like to recognize Mr. John Thomas, who serves on the board of the Warwick Dunn Charities. Dean Dennis and I had the privilege of attending one of these home presentations in May to Ms. Valencia Davis, who's here with us. And one of the things, when we heard about Warwick's Charities a few years ago, we thought we would like to really support what he's doing. We're so proud of what he's doing with his foundation. So we thought, what can we do? And we thought, well, you know what they need? One thing's missing in these homes, and that's a home library. So we thought, we here at our school would like to help them put a home library in the homes that they provide the families. So that's great, but we need to get some books for the home library. And right away, I thought of the Follett Corporation, because they've supported libraries for as long as I've been involved in this field, which is 35 years. And I knew, even before I picked up the phone to call Chuck Follett, who I've known for many, many years, I knew he was going to agree to support this program. That's just the way they are. And certainly, when I did call him and tell him what we were doing, tell him about Warwick, who he knew all about Warwick anyway, he said, we are on board with this project. Tell me what you need. And so they have been providing the home libraries for the program. But what's really neat is our students and our faculty are involved in this program as well. Dr. Melissa Gross, Dr. Don Latham, who teach a course in materials for children, materials for young adults. Their students actually have profiles of the families, and they select the materials that they think are appropriate based on the interests. And then Dr. Marcia Martis, who teaches a course in collection development, actually has her students use a Follett product called Tidal Wave to order these materials online and make appropriate choices and things that they think the family will enjoy. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Jack Belford, who's the Executive Director of Sales for Follett, and he can tell you more about this, and we're delighted that he was able to come to Tallahassee and be a part of this today.
So I'll be brief. Thank you, Dean. Thank you. You know, at Follett, we pride ourselves, for 135 years, we've helped families and children, learn and to reach out and embrace education and embrace the literacy component of reading. We've touched on lives through our support in, the National Library Associations, or AASL, as well as the schools in general. So when we had an opportunity to do this, and when I got a call again from Nancy just not too long ago, and she says, will you continue to support this? We said yes, absolutely. So it's with great love, pride, and dedication to lifelong learning. We'd like to have Ms. Davis and her family come up, and we have your gifts and some books for you. Congratulations. Congratulations, sweetheart. Well, we have them gift wrapped here. We have some books for Miss Davis, as well as her two daughters, and they're very heavy, so I'm not going to. I'll pick up the lighter one. As you can see, they're all gift wrapped, and not even books. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a touching thing. I remember Dr. Seuss' Cat in the Hat, one of the first teachers who read this Bluefish, the readings we all grew up on. I think the table's bare. There are no more awards to give out, no more books to give out. The only thing up is a football game. This concludes our ceremony, and I want to thank everyone for coming out today. We can sit and socialize and talk to each other for a while and reminisce about times we were a little bit less gray, had a few less pounds on ourselves when we were at school. I didn't mean
yeah, you looked at me.
Thanks, Barry. Great job today, by the way. When we were at school, Jay had an afro. Yeah. Believe it or not, a big afro. And that's very popular back in the 80s. But we have to vacate the back parking lot here by 11:30. So feel free to stick around and talk and schmooze for a while or head on out. But thank you all for coming, and thank you to everyone who helped organize this, Barbara Robinson and everyone else. We hope to see you again next year.